We want to follow the facts to get the truth to the American people, with a recognition, too, that no one is above the law, and 3, that the president is engaged in a cover-up. I do think that impeachment is a very divisive place to go in our country.
Nancy Pelosi doubling down on claims that President Trump had a temper tantrum yesterday and is finding excuses not to meet with Democrats on infrastructure or even trade deals. President Trump responding by saying, "I was extremely calm yesterday with my meeting with Pelosi and Schumer, knowing that they would say I was raging," which they always do, along with their partner, the fake news media. Well, so many stories about the meeting use the rage narrative anyway. Fake and corrupt press. Joining me now to discuss, American University Executive in Residence Capri Cafaro and Trump 2020 Advisory Board member Jenna Ellis Reeves. And let me start with you, Capri.
Sure.
It's you know, from the outside looking in, it just looks like a complete disaster, right? It just feels like, you know, the one thing that they have in common that everyone thinks is low-hanging fruit is infrastructure. But why do you think Nancy Pelosi would have made those comments right moments before, knowing she was going to have to see President Trump face to face?
Well, I think we have to put it in the context that she had just left a caucus meeting, you know, the Democratic conference. They had a number of the chair people present to them, financial services, judiciary, oversight, intelligence, and all of these committees are those of jurisdiction that are going through investigations. And so I think that what she's trying to do is walk this very fine line between acknowledging the concerns of some of the far left in her caucus and in the party, and then also not going totally over the edge because she recognizes that impeachment is not only divisive but bad politics. So I think that that's where we're at now. We're in a huge game of chicken where nobody's going to back down because everybody's going to look bad if they do.
You know, Jenna, she didn't mention impeachment, but she did say cover up. She did say no one is above the law. And I think President Trump saying, well, you know what? He waited, he cooperated, they spent millions of dollars, you know, spoke to hundreds of people, have full access to President Trump's records, and Mueller's investigation didn't come up with any of this, and so it's being relitigated over and over again. Not litigated, actually suggesting that he is guilty of something.
Yeah, I mean, I have one question for Nancy Pelosi. Cover up of what? I mean, the Democrats can't have it both ways, and they can't just walk this fine line between saying that they're willing to work with President Trump, but then moments before this meeting, basically just completely blow up the meeting and then saying that President Trump has a temper tantrum. He has the absolute right to be very frustrated with the Democrats when he himself invited them and actually sent a letter to both Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer saying, I look forward to welcoming you to actually contemplate all of this infrastructure that's needed on behalf of America. So the Democrats have two choices here. They can either choose to work with a president who has the best economy, has a low unemployment rate, great going into 2020, and they can choose to work with him, or they can continue to have their false narrative. Right. They can focus on obstruction and that whole narrative, and they can show the American people that they care more about this false narrative than they do about hardworking Americans.
Nancy Pelosi is a shrewd politician, I mean, right?
She is.
And she's got to be thinking about a legacy. And to Jenna's point, will her legacy be, hey, I got some things accomplished? People talk about Tip O'Neill and his relationship with Ronald Reagan.
Right.
You know, or will it be that I was able to hold off the upstarts in the party and stop a revolution? Because when she gave that press conference yesterday, she was rambling. She mentioned Jefferson, and I just feel like in that meeting someone said Jefferson had slaves, right? I just feel like she was so razzled, to your point, from that meeting, that when she came out, it was on her mind, and she's juggling these two things. How does she get anything done?
Well, again, I think that we need to recognize there are two competing interests as well from a policy and governing perspective. The Congress does have a constitutional duty of oversight. So I think that, you know, they are well within their purview to do what they are doing. But at the same time, we also need to find ways to work together. So how do you do that without using incendiary language? You know, and now, of course, President Trump has you know, counterpunched, as he always does. And now everybody looks like a big baby, in my opinion, because nobody wants to work together and everybody is pointing the finger at somebody else. And
But is it better for Nancy Pelosi to keep this going or to actually get something done? From her perspective, from her legacy when she leaves,
right,
to be able to say, hey, you know what, I kept the pressure on, I kept the investigations going, or we achieved a few things.
Well, obviously you want to achieve things. You know, that's what anyone who is elected, hopefully that's their objective. But again, you certainly don't want to lose an opportunity to follow the facts either. So I think that I've never been a huge fan of quote unquote witch hunts and continuing investigations, but you got to walk that fine line.
I mean, a lot was put into the Mueller investigation, hopes, dreams, money, and it just came up a dry well. Real quick, Jenna, what do you see now? Because it just, for a lot of people, I think it is even having, to a degree, an impact on today's trading.
Yeah, and I think that there's Americans are just very tired of this rhetoric, and I do agree with Capri that achievements are the things that we absolutely have to do. And if Democrats really even want to hope anything for 2020, even keeping a majority in the House, they're going to have to show the American people that they're willing to accomplish things on our behalf, not just be Trump haters. And that goes to the market, that goes to the economy, that goes to everything, including policy.
We'll see it. I am a little upset that you two got together and didn't tell me to wear a yellow tie.
Apparently.
We'll talk about that next time. Capri, Jenna,
we always do that, twinning.
Congratulations, Jenna. See you guys later.